uh, we have started the second act, so I will share the screen with you again so you can look at the text. Yes, this is the text, and uh, so we are on page number 74. Page number 74, right at the top. So Cecily says, I don't think I could break it off now that I have actually met you. Besides, of course, there is the question of your name. So she thinks that Algernon is called Ernest. Yes, of course, nervously. So Algernon is a bit nervous because he knows himself that he is not called Ernest. He has lied to Cecily. You must not laugh at me, darling, but it had always been a girlish dream of mine to love someone whose name was Ernest. So this is a peculiar, you can say, situation where uh, Cecily also, like Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn also was fond of the name Ernest, and Cecily also. She is also saying that she is really in love with this name, and she wants to marry someone, a person whose name is Ernest. Algernon rises, Cecily also. There is something in that name that seems to inspire absolute confidence. I pity any poor married woman whose husband is not called Ernest. So this is really ridiculous, of course, because all men cannot be named Ernest. And she is so much rather besotted with this name that she says that I pity all married women whose husbands are not named Ernest. Now, Algernon becomes a bit nervous. He says, but my dear child, do you mean to say you could not love me if I had some other name? So it is quite plain. He is feeling a bit disturbed. But what name? Oh, any name you like. Algernon, for instance. So he uh, blurts out his own name. But I don't like the name of Algernon. Well, my own dear, sweet, loving little darling, I really can't see why you should object to the name of Algernon. It is not at all a bad name. In fact, it is rather an aristocratic name. Half of the chaps who get into the bankruptcy court are called Algernon. But seriously, Cecily, moving to her, if my name was Algie, couldn't you love me? So Algernon is trying to convince her. So it's not a bad name, and he is trying to convince her that it is a name that she should love. Rising, I might respect you, Ernest. I might admire your character, but I fear that I should not be able to give you my undivided attention. So Cecily speaks her mind. Ahem, Cecily, picking up hat. Your rector here is, I suppose, thoroughly experienced in the practice of uh, all the rites and ceremonials of the church. So he has this intention of being rechristened. So he wants to be rechristened Ernest, and he wants to meet Dr. Chasuble for this purpose. Oh, yes, Dr. Chasuble is a most learned man. He has never written a single book, so you can imagine how much he knows. So, this is another inversion. Of course, people who know, who are very knowledgeable, they obviously they write books. But Dr. Chasuble is so knowledgeable, he has not written a single book. So this is a funny statement. I must see him at once on a most important christening. I mean, on most important business. So you had blotted out that he wanted to be christened, but then he corrected himself and said it is a most important business. Oh, I shan't be away more than half an hour. So he's very anxious to go away and go away and meet Dr. Chasuble because, of course, he has to talk about his christening. Considering that we have been engaged since February the 14th and that I only met you today for the first time, I think it is rather hard that you should leave me for so long a period as half an hour. Couldn't you make it 20 minutes? So uh, it is very ridiculous, really. It is all in her imagination that she had met Algernon, that she wrote down in her diary that she had met Ernest, who was her uncle's brother, so on the February the 14th, and she would not be able to leave him, stay away from him for half an hour. So she asks him to make it 20 minutes. I'll be back in no time, kisses her and rushes down the garden. So he's absolutely in a hurry. He must see Dr. Chasuble, and it is really a very important task for him. So he has to go away. Just a moment. Trying to take a kind of a screenshot, but seems a very difficult task. If you want, if you can take the screenshot, please, would you take one and send it to me later? Any of you? Okay. Okay, I have taken it. Thank you. So now, so he rushes off. What an impetuous boy he is. I like his hair so much. I must enter his proposal in my diary. So she's always putting down things that happen to her in her diary. Enter Merriman. Miss Fairfax has just called to see Mr. Worthing on very important business, Miss Fairfax states. So Gwendolen is here. Isn't Mr. Worthing in his library? Mr. Worthing went over in the direction of the rectory some time ago. So Jack has also gone to meet Mr. Dr. Chasuble. Cecily, pray ask the lady to come out here. Mr. Worthing is sure to be back soon. And you can bring tea. Merriman, yes, miss, goes out. Miss Fairfax, I suppose one of the many good elderly women who are associated with Uncle Jack in some of his philanthropic work in London. I don't quite like women who are interested in philanthropic work. I think it is so forward of them. So Cecily doesn't know that Miss Fairfax is actually, of course, engaged, or rather, she has already met her uncle, Jack Worthing, and she's not at all an elderly lady. She's a young woman like herself, and she is not someone who concerns herself with philanthropic affairs. Merriman now comes in and announces Miss Fairfax. Enter Gwendolen. Exit Merriman. Cecily advancing to meet her. Pray let me introduce myself to you. My name is Cecily Cardew. So now the two of them meet. That is Cecily and Gwendolen. So Gwendolen has come over to this manor house, Jack's manor house, because as you will remember, that she had taken his country address, and therefore she had made up her mind that she would come to this manor house and meet him rather, and so uh, both the girls they now meet each other. And Cecily says, I am Cecily Cardew. Gwendolen, Cecily Cardew, moving to her and shaking hands. What a very sweet name. Something tells me that we are going to be great friends. I like you already more than I can say. My first impressions of people are never wrong. So Gwendolen also is a peculiar kind of a woman, young woman, and she immediately takes a fancy to Cecily's name and says that, well, I am quite sure that we'll become very good friends. And my first impressions of people are never wrong. So I always get the right impressions. How nice of you to like me so much after we have known each other such a comparatively short time. Pray sit down. So Cecily is very much impressed. Still standing up. I may call you Cecily, may I not? With pleasure. And you will always call me Gwendolen, won't you? if you wish, then that is all quite settled, is it not? So they are going to call each other by their Christian names. I hope so. A pause. They both sit down together. Perhaps this might be a favorable opportunity for my mentioning who I am. My father is Lord Bracknell. You have never heard of Papa, I suppose? I don't think so. So Gwendolyn next now explains, outside the family circle, Papa, I am glad to say, is entirely unknown. I think that is quite as it should be. The home seems to me to be the proper sphere for the man, and certainly once a man begins to neglect his domestic duties, he becomes painfully effeminate, does he not? So you will find that all throughout this play, there are ridiculous statements in the sense the traditional thoughts, the traditional sayings are inverted. This is another inversion made by the dramatist, and Lord Bracknell actually is a person who is not allowed to mix in society by his wife, Lady Bracknell, who is a very dominating kind of a person. So as we can see, so let us continue. So she says that she is of the opinion that men should remain inside, or rather look after the domestic affairs. And I don't like that. It makes men so very attractive. Cecily, Mama, whose views on education are remarkably strict, has brought me up to be extremely short sighted. It is part of our system. So, do you mind my looking at you through my glasses? So, Gwendolyn wants to examine Cecily. Uh, oh, not at all, Gwendolyn. I am very fond of being looked at. Gwendolyn, after examining Cecily carefully through a lorgnette, you are here on a short visit, I suppose? Oh, no, I live here. So, Gwendolyn didn't know that this was her house. Severely, really? Your mother, no doubt, or some female relative of advanced years, resides here also? Oh no, I have no mother, nor in fact any relations. Indeed, my dear guardian, with the assistance of Miss Prism, has the arduous task of looking after me. So she has got no mother. Your guardian? Yes, I am Mr. Worthing's ward. Oh, it is strange he never mentioned to me that he had a ward. How secretive of him. He grows more interesting hourly. I am not sure, however, that the news inspires me with feelings of unmixed delight. Rising and going to her. I am very fond of you, Cecily. I have liked you ever since I met you. But I am bound to state that now that I know that you are Mr. Worthing's ward, I cannot help expressing a wish you were, well, just a little older than you seem to be, and not quite so very alluring in appearance. In fact, if I may speak candidly, so Gwendolen is surprised that Jack has not told her about Cecily, and she finds him very interesting. And of course, now she says that she likes Cecily very much, but she wants that she would be a little older. Pray do. I think that whenever one has anything unpleasant to say, one should always be quite candid. So Cecily feels that maybe Gwendolen is going to say something unpleasant. Well, to speak with perfect candor, Cecily, I wish that you were fully 42 and more than usually plain for your age. Ernest has a strong, upright nature. He is the very soul of truth and honor. Disloyalty would be as impossible to him as deception. But even men of the noblest possible moral character are extremely susceptible to the influence of the physical charms of others. Modern, no less than ancient history, supplies us with many most painful examples of what I refer to. If it were not so, indeed, history would be quite unreadable. So Gwendolen speaks her mind here. She would have liked Cecily to be a middle-aged woman, about 42 years old, and a plain woman, not so beautiful as Cecily is. And though she feels that Jack Worthing, uh, he is, of course, a man of truth and honor. He would not go astray, but obviously she is saying all these things. I beg your pardon, Gwendolyn. Did you say Ernest? Yes. So now the name actually has come out. Jack is called Ernest. He actually has told Gwendolyn that he's called Ernest, and Gwendolyn mentions the name to her. Yes. Oh, but it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is my guardian. It is his brother, his elder brother. Sitting down again, Ernest never mentioned to me that he had a brother. I am sorry to say they have not been on good terms for a long time. So they are actually uh, talking at you know they are not, they do not know the real situation severely really. Sorry, this should be the second bit. Indeed. Uh, that accounts for it. And now that I think of it, I have never heard any man mention his brother. The subject seems distasteful to most men. Cecily, you have lifted a load from my mind. I was growing almost anxious. It would have been terrible if any cloud had come across a friendship like ours, would it not? Of course, you were quite sure that it is not Mr. Ernest Worthing who is your guardian. So Gwendolen is a bit relieved. Quite sure, a pause. In fact, I'm going to be his. Inquiringly, I beg your pardon, rather shy and confidingly. Dearest Gwendolen, there is no reason why I should make a secret of it to you. Our little country newspaper is sure to chronicle the fact next week. Mr. Ernest Worthing and I are engaged to be married. So Cecily reveals the fact, quite politely rising. My darling Cecily, I think there must be some slight error. Mr. Ernest Worthing is engaged to me. The announcement will appear in the Morning Post on Saturday at the latest. So, uh, Gwendolen is of course, offended by this statement because she herself is engaged to Ernest. Very politely rising, I am afraid you must be under some misconception. Ernest proposed to me exactly 10 minutes ago. Shows diary. So she had put down the time and the date. Examining diary through her lognet carefully, it is certainly very curious, for he asked me to be his wife yesterday afternoon at 5:30. If you would care to verify the incident, pray do so. Produces diary of her own. I never travel without my diary. One should always have something sensational to read in the train. I am so sorry, dear Cecily, if it is in any if it is any disappointment to you, but I am afraid I have the prior claim. So Gwendolen, in her turn, she produces her own diary and she says that I do not travel without my diary because it is full of sensational incidents which I have jotted down in it. So one's life is really, her life is full of sensational incidents. And she tells Cecily that she has made a mistake and actually she has the prior claim. It would distress me more than I can tell you, dear Gwendolen, if it caused you any mental or physical anguish, but I feel bound to point out that since Ernest proposed to you, he clearly has changed his mind. So it is, I should tell you that he has changed his mind, Gwendolen, meditatively. If the poor fellow has been entrapped into any foolish promise, I shall consider it my duty to rescue him at once and with a firm hand. So Gwendolen feels that Jack has committed a blunder. Thoughtfully and sadly, whatever unfortunate entanglement my dear boy may have got into, I will never reproach him with it after we are married. So both of them are thinking about their own affairs. Do you allude to me, Miss Cardew, as an entanglement? You are presumptuous. On an occasion of this kind, it becomes more than a moral duty to speak one's mind. It becomes a pleasure. So Gwendolen doesn't like this word entanglement. Do you suggest, Miss Fairfax, that I entrapped Ernest into an engagement? How dare you? This is no time for wearing the shallow mask of manners. When I see a spade, I call it a spade. So Cecily also is very blunt now, so their friendship is wearing off. Satirically, I am glad to say that I have never seen a spade. It is obvious that our social spheres have been widely different. Enter Merryman, followed by the footman. He carries a salver, tablecloth, and plate stand. Cecily is about to retort. The presence of the servants exercises a restraining influence under which both girls shave. So now the two girls are no longer friends, and they are uh, distinctly, they have become, they have started to dislike each other. Shall I lay tea here as usual, Miss? Cecily sternly in a calm voice. Yes, as usual. Merriman begins to clear and lay cloth. A long pause. Cecily and Gwendolen glare at each other. Are there many interesting walks in the vicinity, Miss Cardew? Oh, yes, a great many. From the top of one of the hills, quite close, one can see 5 counties. 5 counties? I don't think I should like that. I hate crowds. Sweetly, I suppose that is why you live in town. So towns are crowded, obviously. Gwendolen bites her lip and beats her foot nervously with her parasol. Parasol is the umbrella she is carrying. Looking round, quite a well-kept garden this is, Miss Cardew. Cecily. So glad you like it, Miss Fairfax. I had no idea there were any flowers in the country. Oh, flowers are as common here, Miss Fairfax, as people are in London. So Cecily is still bringing in the allusions of the town or the city of London. Personally, I cannot understand how anybody manages to exist in the country. If anybody who is anybody does, the country always bores me to death. So Gwendolen is expressing her dislike of the countryside. Ah, this is what the newspapers call agricultural depression, is it not? I believe the aristocracy are suffering very much from it just at present. It is almost an epidemic amongst them. I have been told. May I offer you some tea, Miss Fairfax? So it is a kind of a disease they are suffering from, agricultural depression. They do not like the countryside. With elaborate politeness, thank you, aside, detestable girl, but I require tea. Cecily, sweetly, sugar? Superciliously, no, thank you. Sugar is not fashionable anymore. Cecily looks angrily at her, takes up the tongs, and puts 4 lumps of sugar into the cup. So Gwendolen didn't say that she wanted sugar. She said that it is not fashionable, but Cecily purposefully put 4 lumps of sugar. It would make the tea extremely sweet. Cecily severely, cake or bread and butter? In a bored manner, bread and butter, please. Cake is rarely seen at the best houses nowadays. Cuts a very large slice of cake and puts it on the tray. Hand that to Miss Fairfax. Merriman does so and goes out with footman. Gwendolen drinks the tea and makes a grimace. Puts down cup at once, reaches out her hand to the bread and butter, looks at it and finds it is cake, rises in indignation. So the tea is extremely sweet. She won't be able to drink the tea, and she wanted bread and butter while Cecily had cut a slice of cake. So she is not going to give her uh, any food. You have filled my tea with lumps of sugar, and though I asked most distinctly for bread and butter, you have given me cake. I am known for the gentleness of my disposition and the extraordinary sweetness of my nature, but I warn you, Miss Cardew, you may go too far. So now she is indignant. Rising, to save my poor, innocent, trusting boy from the machinations of any other girl, there are no lengths to which I would not go. From the moment I saw you, I distrusted you. I felt that you were false and deceitful. I am never deceived in such matters. My first impressions of people are invariably right. So now she's going back on her statement. She had said, as you will remember, that she liked Cecily, and her first impression of Cecily was good. It seems to me, Miss Fairfax, that I am trespassing on your valuable time. No doubt you have many other calls of a similar character to make in the neighborhood. So they are no longer, They do not like each other anymore. Enter Jack. Now Jack comes in. Gwendolen, catching sight of you. Ernest, my own Ernest. Jack, Gwendolen, darling, offers to kiss her. Gwendolen, drawing back. A moment. May I ask if you are engaged to be married to this young lady? Points to Cecily. Laughing. To dear little Cecily? Of course not. What could have put such an idea into your pretty little head? Gwendolen, thank you. You may, offers her cheek. Cecily, very sweetly, I knew there must be some misunderstanding, Miss Fairfax. The gentleman whose arm is at present around your waist is my dear guardian, Mr. John Worthing. I beg your pardon, Cecily. This is Uncle Jack. Gwendolen, receding. Jack? Oh, now, so Uncle Jack, so not Ernest. So Gwendolen is shocked. Enter Algernon. Now Algernon comes in as well. Cecily, here is Ernest. Algernon goes straight over to Cecily without noticing anyone else. My own love, offers to kiss her. Cecily, drawing back. A moment, Ernest. May I ask you, are you engaged to be married to this young lady? So she also asks the same question, looking round. To what young lady? Good heavens, Gwendolen. Cecily, yes, no good heavens, Gwendolen. I mean to Gwendolen. Laughing, of course not. What would have put such an idea into your pretty little head? Uh, so they say the same things. Just a moment. Let me take a screenshot. Yes. So obviously, Algernon says no. Thank you, presenting her cheek to be kissed. You may. Algernon kisses her. I felt there was some slight error, Miss Cardew. The gentleman who is now embracing you is my cousin, Mr. Algernon Moncrief. Cecily, breaking away from Algernon. Algernon Moncrief. Oh, so now the true names have been revealed. The two girls moved towards each other and put their arms around each other's waist as if for a protection. Are you called Algernon? I cannot deny it. Cecily, oh, is your name really John? Gwendolen asks, standing rather proudly. I could deny it if I liked. I could deny anything if I liked, but my name certainly is John. It has been John for years. So they now confess that they are not called Ernest. Cecily, to Gwendolen, a gross deception has been practiced on both of us. My poor wounded Cecily, my sweet wronged Gwendolen. So again, they are uh, sympathizing with each other. Slowly and seriously, you will call me sister, will you not? They embrace. Jack and Algernon groan and walk up and down. So they are really in trouble now. Rather brightly, there is just one question I would like to be allowed to ask my guardian. Gwendolen, an admirable idea. Mr. Worthing, there is just one question I would like to be permitted to put to you. Where is your brother Ernest? We are both engaged to be married to your brother Ernest, so it is a matter of some importance to us to know where your brother Ernest is at present. Slowly and hesitatingly, Gwendolen, Cecily, it is very painful for me to be forced to speak the truth. It is the first time in my life that I have ever been reduced to such a painful position, and I am really quite inexperienced in doing anything of the kind. However, I will tell you quite frankly that I have no brother Ernest. I have no brother at all. I never had a brother in my life, and I certainly have not the smallest intention of ever having one in the future. So now the confession comes from Jack. So he hesitates to speak the truth because he had not spoken the truth earlier. He had always been telling lies, and he now makes a clean breast of it. That is, he confesses that he never had any brother named Ernest, and he doesn't want anyone, uh, doesn't have the intention of having anyone. Surprised, no brother at all? Cheerily, none. Severely, had you never a brother of any kind? Pleasantly, never, not even of any kind. I am afraid it is quite clear, Cecily, that neither of us is engaged to be married to anyone. It is not a very pleasant position for a young girl suddenly to find herself in, is it? Let us go into the house. They will hardly venture to come after us there. So they are done with these two young men. Is your name really John? standing rather proudly. Sorry, I just. No, men are so cowardly, aren't they? They retire into the house with scornful looks. So they are extremely, you know, they do not like the situation at all because both Algernon and Jack, they have lied to them. This ghastly state of things is what you call bunburying, I suppose. Yes, and a perfectly wonderful bunbury it is, the most wonderful bunbury I've ever had in my life. Well, you have no right whatsoever to bunbury here. That is absurd. One has a right to bunbury anywhere one chooses. Every serious bunburyist knows that. So, Algernon is not going to be put off. Jack, serious Bunburyist, good heavens. So he is surprised. Well, one must be serious about something if one wants to have any amusement in life. I happen to be serious about Bunburying. What on earth you are serious about, I haven't got the remotest idea. About everything I should fancy. You have such an absolutely trivial nature. So you have a trivial nature, and that is why you are serious about everything. So another funny statement. Well, the only small satisfaction I have in the whole of this wretched business is that your friend Bunbury is quite exploded. You won't be able to run down to the country quite so often as you used to do, dear Algy. And a very good thing, too. So, your friend, of course, does not exist, and everyone has come to know of it. Your brother is a little off color, isn't he, dear Jack? You won't be able to disappear to London quite so frequently as your wicked custom was, and not a bad thing either. So you are also not going to go. As for your conduct toward Miss Cardew, I must say that you're taking in a sweet, simple, innocent girl like that is quite inexcusable, to say nothing of the fact that she is my ward. I can see no possible defense at all for your deceiving a brilliant, clever, thoroughly experienced young lady like Miss Fairfax. To say nothing of the fact that she is my cousin. So they are both accusing each other. Now, I wanted to be engaged to Gwendolen, that is all. I love her. Well, I simply wanted to be engaged to Cecily. I adore her, so the situation is the same. There is certainly no chance of your marrying Miss Cardew. I don't think there is much likelihood, Jack, of you and Miss Fairfax being united. Well, that is no business of yours. So both of the men, they find themselves in dismal situations. If it was my business, I wouldn't talk about it. Begins to eat muffins. It is very vulgar to talk about one's business. Only people like stockbrokers do that, and then merely at dinner parties. How can you sit there calmly eating muffins when we are in this horrible trouble? I can't make out. You seem to me to be perfectly heartless. Well, I can't eat muffins in an agitated manner. The butter would probably get on my cuffs. One should always eat muffins quite calmly. It is the only way to eat them. So Algernon is stating this in a very matter-of-fact way. I say it's perfectly heartless you're eating muffins at all under the circumstances. When I am in trouble, eating is the only thing that consoles me. Indeed, when I am in really great trouble, as anyone who knows me intimately will tell you, I refuse everything except food and drink. So it is a very funny statement, of course. He will refuse everything, but only he will eat. At the present moment, I am eating muffins because I am unhappy. Besides, I am particularly fond of muffins. Rising. Well, that is no reason why you should eat them all in that greedy way, takes muffins from Algernon. Offering tea cake. I wish you'd have tea cake instead. I don't like tea cake. So he doesn't like tea cake and he offers those tea cakes to Jack. Good heavens. I suppose a man may eat his own muffins in his own garden. So Jack is very much indignant. He is in his own house and he is being offered tea cake, which he doesn't prefer. But you have just said it was perfectly heartless to eat muffins. I said it was perfectly heartless of you under the circumstances. That is a very different thing. That may be, but the muffins are the same. He seizes the muffin dish from Jack. Algy, I wish to goodness you'd go. You can't possibly ask me to go without having some dinner. It's absurd. I never go without my dinner. No one ever does, except vegetarians and people like that. Besides, I have just made arrangements with Dr. Chasuble to be christened at 5:45 under the name of Earnest. So now he reveals his intention to be christened uh, Earnest. My dear fellow, the sooner you give up that nonsense, the better. I made arrangements this morning with Dr. Chasuble to be christened myself at 5:30, and I naturally will take the name of Ernest. Gwendolen would wish it. We can't both be christened Ernest. It's absurd. Besides, I have a perfect right to be christened if I like. There is no evidence at all that I have ever been christened by anybody. I should think it extremely probable I never was, and so does Dr. Chasuble. It is entirely different in your case. You have been christened already. So Jack says that, well, since I was a foundling, I was found in a inside a handbag, and I didn't know my parents, so no one knew whether I was christened at all. So I can be christened Ernest, but you were christened Algernon, so of course you cannot be christened anew. Yes, but I have not been christened for years. So it's a funny statement. Obviously, one is christened at birth, after birth, when the baptism takes place. That is the Christian custom, and one is not christened again. Yes, but you have been christened. That is the important thing. Quite so. So I know my constitution can stand it. If you are not quite sure about your ever having been christened, I must say I think it rather dangerous you're venturing on it now. It might make you very unwell. You can hardly have forgotten that someone very closely connected with you was very nearly carried off this week in Paris by a severe chill. So he's referring to the imaginary brother whom Jack had killed off. So he said, you might, if you want to be christened at your age now, you might fall sick. Yes, but you said yourself that a severe chill was not hereditary. So Jack is not to be put off. It isn't to be, I know, but I dare say it is now. Science is always making wonderful improvements in things. So you might catch it. Picking up the muffin dish. Oh, that is nonsense. You are always talking nonsense. Algernon, Jack, you are at the muffins again. I wish you wouldn't. There are only two left. Takes them. I told you I was particularly fond of muffins, but I hate tea cake. Why on earth then do you allow tea cake to be served up for your guests? What ideas you have of hospitality? So if you do not like tea cake, you should not ask your cook to make them. Algernon, I have already told you to go. I don't want you here. Why don't you go? I haven't quite finished my tea yet, and there is still one muffin left, so he's going to eat that. Jack groans and sinks into a chair. Algernon still continues eating. So the curtain falls here. Act 2 comes to an end. And as we see here, the plot has progressed a lot, and there is a kind of a conflict now. There is a problem. The two men, they have revealed to their respective fiancés that they are not called Ernest, and they obviously the two girls who love the name Ernest and they were determined to be married to people who were called Ernest find it very disgusting. So now they have to do something. They have to be christened. Let us move on to Act 3 now. Scene, morning room at the manor house. Gwendolen and Cecily are at the window looking out into the garden. So the scene is the same. It is the manor house still, Jack's house, that is. Gwendolen and Cecily are looking out the window. The fact that they did not follow us at once into the house as anyone else would have done seems to me to show that they have some sense of shame left. So Gwendolen is saying that they are most probably feeling ashamed. They have been eating muffins. That looks like repentance. So Cecily makes a ridiculous statement that since they are eating muffins, that means uh, they are repenting. After a pause, they don't seem to notice us at all. Couldn't you cough? But I haven't a cough. They are looking at us. What effrontery. So uh, she wanted Cecily to draw their attention with a cough, but now when they were looking at them, she says that they are very audacious. They are approaching. That's very forward of them. Let us preserve a dignified silence. Certainly, it's the only thing to do now. Enter Jack, followed by Algernon. They whistle some dreadful popular air from a British opera. This dignified silence seems to produce an unpleasant effect, Cecily, a most distasteful one. So they start talking. But we will not be the first to speak. Certainly not. Mr. Worthing, I have something very particular to ask you. Much depends on your reply. So Gwendolen immediately, after saying that she would not speak first, asks, asks, you know, Jack a question. Gwendolen, your common sense is invaluable. Mr. Moncrief, kindly answer me the following question. Why did you pretend to be my guardian's brother? Algernon, in order that I might have an opportunity of meeting you. Cecily to Gwendolen, that certainly seems a satisfactory explanation, does it not? Yes, dear, if you can believe him. I don't, but that does not affect the wonderful beauty of his answer. So Algernon says the truth. True, in matters of grave importance, style, not sincerity, is the vital thing. Mr. Worthing, what explanation can you offer to me for pretending to have a brother? Was it in order that you might have an opportunity of coming up to town to see me as often as possible? Can you doubt it, Miss Fairfax? So it's the same thing. He also wanted to see Gwendolen. I have the gravest doubts upon the subject, but I intend to crush them. This is not the moment for German skepticism. So the Germans are skeptical, but she doesn't want to become like them. Moving to Cecily, their explanations appear to be quite satisfactory, especially Mr. Worthing's. That seems to me to have the stamp of truth upon it. So they are satisfied with the answers. I am more than content with what Mr. Moncrief said. His voice alone inspires one with absolute credibility. So now she finds that Algernon's voice is very reassuring. Then you think we should forgive them? Yes, I mean, no. True, I had forgotten. There are principles at stake that one cannot surrender. Which of us should tell them? The task is not a pleasant one. Could we not both speak at the same time? An excellent idea. I nearly always speak at the same time as other people. Will you take the time from me? Certainly, Gwendolen beats time with uplifted finger. Now they speak together, Gwendolen and Cecily, speaking together. Your Christian names are still an inseparable barrier. That is all. So we are satisfied with your answers, but since you both of you are not called Earnest, it has become a very difficult thing for us to accept you. Jack and Algernon speaking together. Our Christian names, is that all? But we are going to be christened this afternoon. To Jack, for my sake, you are prepared to do this terrible thing. So christening is a very a terrible thing at his age. I am. To Algernon, to please me, you are ready to face this fearful ordeal. I am. How absurd to talk of the equality of the sexes. Where questions of self-sacrifice are concerned, men are infinitely beyond us. So obviously, uh, men sacrifice so much. They are sacrificing their names. Jack, we are, clasps hands with Algernon. So they are prepared to sacrifice their names. They have moments of physical courage of which we women know absolutely nothing. To Jack, darling, Algernon to Cecily, darling, they fall into each other's arms. Enter Merriman. When he enters, he coughs loudly, seeing the situation. So now they have become reconciled when Algernon and Jack, they both declare that they are going to be christened Earnest. Ahem, ahem, Lady Bracknell. Jack, good heavens, enter Lady Bracknell. The couples separate in alarm. Exit Merriman. Lady Bracknell. Gwendolen, what does this mean? Oh, she is very indignant. Gwendolen, merely that I am engaged to be married to Mr. Worthing, Mamma. Lady Bracknell now becomes really uh, flustered. Come here, sit down immediately. Hesitation of any kind is a sign of mental decay in the young, of physical weakness in the old. Turns to Jack. Apprised, sir, of my daughter's sudden flight by her trusty maid, whose confidence I purchased by means of a small coin, I followed her at once by a luggage train. Her unhappy father is, I am glad to say, under the impression that she is attending a more than usually lengthy lecture by the University Extension Scheme on the influence of a permanent income on thought. I do not propose to undeceive him. Indeed, I have never undeceived him on any question. I would consider it wrong. But of course, you will clearly understand that all communication between yourself and my daughter must cease immediately from this moment. On this point, as indeed on all points, I am firm. So Lady Bracknell is not going to allow the marriage. I am engaged to be married to Gwendolen, Lady Bracknell. You are nothing of the kind, sir. And now, as regards Algernon, yes, Aunt Augusta, may I ask if it is in this house that your invalid friend, Mr. Bunbury, resides? Stammering, oh no, Bunbury doesn't live here. Bunbury is somewhere else at present. In fact, Bunbury is dead. Dead? When did Mr. Bunbury die? His death must have been extremely sudden. Airily, oh, I killed Bunbury this afternoon. I mean, poor Bunbury died this afternoon. What did he die of? Bunbury. Oh, he was quite exploded. Exploded? Was he the victim of a revolutionary outrage? I was not aware that Mr. Bunbury was interested in social legislation. If so, he is well punished for his morbidity. So obviously, Algernon does not want to reveal the real thing. My dear Aunt Augusta, I mean, he was found out. The doctors found out that Bunbury could not live. That is what I mean. So Bunbury died. So he is saying that, well, he had to die. He seems to have had great confidence in the opinion of his physicians. I am glad, however, that he made up his mind at the last to some definite course of action and acted under proper medical advice. And now that we have finally got rid of this Mr. Bunbury, may I ask, Mr. Worthing, who is that young person whose hand my nephew Algernon is now holding in what seems to me a peculiarly unnecessary manner? So she wants to know who Cecily is. That lady is Miss Cecily Cardew, my word. Lady Bracknell bows coldly to Cecily. Algernon, I am engaged to be married to Cecily, Aunt Augusta. I beg your pardon. Mr. Moncrieff and I are engaged to be married, Lady Bracknell. So Cecily says that with a shiver, crossing to the sofa and sitting down. I do not know whether there is anything peculiarly exciting in the air of this particular part of Hertfordshire, but the number of engagements that go on seems to me considerably above the proper average that statistics have laid down for our guidance. I think some preliminary inquiry on my part would not be out of place. Mr. Worthing, is Miss Cardew at all connected with any of the larger railway stations in London? I merely desire information. Until yesterday, I had no idea that there were any families or persons whose origin was the terminus. Jack looks perfectly furious, but restrains himself because Jack was a foundling. So that is why Lady Bracknell is referring to Cecily, that whether she was a foundling also. In a clear, cold voice, Miss Cardew is the granddaughter of the late Mr. Thomas Cardew of 149 Belgrave Square, SW, Gervase Park, Dorking, Surrey, and the Sporran, Fifthshire, NB. So he gives the full address, Cecily's address. That sounds not unsatisfactory. Three addresses always inspire confidence, even in tradesmen. But what proof have I of their authenticity? I have carefully preserved the court guides of the period. They are open to your inspection, Lady Bracknell. Grimly, I have known strange errors in that publication. Miss Cardew's family solicitors are Messrs. Markby, and Markby. So three brothers who have the surname Markby. Markby, and Markby, a firm of the very highest position in that profession. Indeed, I am told that one of the Mr. Markbys is occasionally to be seen at dinner parties. So far, I am satisfied. So, Lady Bracknell is actually satisfied because one of the Markbys she has seen she had been told that he attends dinner parties, and a person who attends dinner parties is a very important person according to her. Jack, very irritably, how extremely kind of you, Lady Bracknell. I have also in my possession, you will be pleased to hear, certificate of Miss Cardew's birth, baptism, whooping cough, registration, vaccination, confirmation, and the measles, both the German and the English variety. So everything that had happened to her during her uh, childhood days is recorded. Ah, a life crowded with incident, I see. though perhaps somewhat too exciting for a young girl. I am not myself in favor of premature experiences. Rises, looks at her watch. Gwendolen, the time approaches for our departure. We have not a moment to lose. As a matter of form, Mr. Worthing, I had better ask you if Mr. Cardew has any little fortune. Oh, about £130,000 in the funds. That is all. Goodbye, Lady Bracknell. So pleased to have seen you. Sitting down again. A moment, Mr. Worthing. £130,000. So she is impressed. And in the funds, Miss Cardew seems to me a most attractive young lady now that I look at her. Few girls of the present day have any really solid qualities, any of the qualities that last and improve with time. We live, I regret to say, in an age of surfaces. To Cecily, come over here, dear. Uh, Cecily goes across. Pretty child, your dress is sadly simple, and your hair seems almost as nature might have left it, but we can soon alter all that. A thoroughly experienced French maid produces a really marvelous result in a very brief space of time. I remember recommending one to young Lady Lansing, and after 3 months, her own husband did not know her. So now, after learning of her income, Lady Bracknell now has accepted Cecily, and she looks at her carefully and she says that you are wearing a plain dress. Obviously, you have to wear beautiful dresses, and a French maid will be employed who will make up your hair. So you will be more fashionable aside. And after 6 months, nobody knew her. So Jack is saying this in a humorous way. So after 6 months, 3 months, Lansing was unrecognizable to her own husband. There was such a transformation. And Jack says that, well, nobody knew her after that 6 months. Glares at Jack for a few moments. She has heard what he said. Then bends with a practical smile to Cecily. Kindly turn round, sweet child. Cecily turns completely round. No, the side view is what I want. Cecily presents her profile. Yes, quite as I expected. There are distinct social possibilities in your profile. The two weak points in our age are its want of principle and its want of profile. The chin a little higher, dear, style largely depends on the way the chin is worn. They are worn very high just at present. Algernon, so she wants to make Cecily a fashionable young woman. Yes, Aunt Augusta, there are distinct social possibilities in Miss Cardew's profile. Cecily is the sweetest, dearest, prettiest girl in the whole world, and I don't care twopence about social possibilities. So Algernon doesn't really wants to know about social possibilities. Lady Bracknell, never speak disrespectfully of society. Algernon, only people who can't get into it do that. To Cecily, dear child, of course you know that Algernon has nothing but his debt to depend upon, but I do not approve of mercenary marriages. When I married Lord Bracknell, I had no fortune of any kind, but I never dreamed for a moment of allowing that to stand in my way. Well, I suppose I must give my consent. So, Lady Bracknell is now she is ready to give her consent, and she tells Cecily that Algernon doesn't have much money, so he will have to depend upon you. And she refers to herself, her own situation when she had married Lord Bracknell, uh, that she did not have any money. So let us stop here today, and I will continue in my next class.